out of all the sports my kids do, it's probably the most life-learning sport there is. You go through tough times, cutting weight, trying to get better. If you don't get better every single summer, it shows on the mat. That's just life. I mean, if you don't get better at your job, it's going to show. If you don't get better being a parent or a father or a mother or, working on your marriage, it's going to show. And so wrestling has no excuses. So that's why I encourage everybody to at least try the sport.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Wrestle Her podcast. I am your host, Jessica Brenton, and today I am joined by a very special guest. My father is joining me today. So how are you doing today, Dad?
I'm good, Jess.
Good. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, at my age, there's too much to talk about, so I just want to tell you the little background of my parents and the way I was raised in sports, wrestling, and everything else. So we kind of had a work ethic growing up. You either played sports or worked, which most of the times we did both. Kind of grew up on a small ranch in Casper, Wyoming, and my parents were big supportive of all sports. I played baseball, wrestle, football, hockey. We did anything there was to do. We snow skied, we water skied. So I can honestly say in the 22 years I was in sports, my parents probably missed one or two events. And so that tells you where I come from, and then the way I push my kids is the way I got pushed by my parents.
Awesome. Love it. You obviously let me wrestle. How did you initially feel about me wanting to wrestle?
Well, I didn't want you to wrestle at first, but Briston, your older brother, was doing very, very well as a youth wrestler, and you kept bugging me, and we had you in dance and ballet and gymnastics, which are sports as well, and you just kept bugging me, and finally I decided to take you to the hardest tournament of the year, and the next thing you know, you got the first place medal around your neck, and it's the size of a big apple, and you had a grin from ear to ear, and I said, well, if this is what she wants to do, I'm going to support her 100%, and off we went.
Yeah, awesome. I didn't know that story. That's cool. So what do you think was one of your favorite memories of watching me grow up wrestling?
There were several, so that's really a hard question, but the first tournament I did take you to was in Butte, Montana, which anybody knows anything about Butte wrestling, that's like the hardest place in all of Montana to even get one win, and to watch you get 5 wins was pretty special. And then later on, I really enjoyed you wrestling kids that were cocky, that just were trying to intimidate you because they were a boy, and kind of the bully type attitude, and you were just business. You just went out there. You had a mean face. I taught you how to do a mean look when you were little, and it grew all the way through high school. And you just went out there and got your work done. You never celebrated, and none of the kids do. I don't believe in that. So there was a particular match you had I think in Douglas, if I'm not mistaken, where a kid was pretty cocky to you, and you went out there and beat him. And then you got hurt in your next match, and so it was kind of a bittersweet tournament. And then another big event was when we were in Winnipeg, and you wrestled the girl from Mexico. I believe she was on the Olympic team, and everybody thought you were just going to get destroyed by her. No, you went out there with that attitude, and your little, I'm going to get this done, and you head and armed her, and it was over.
Yeah.
So those are 3 special ones. I mean, high school was high school. Beating the Gillette kid was awesome. I mean, that was a great little tournament we went to, and all the dads were mad at the coaches on our side, and that caused a lot of rivalry. You had such a lot of hate mail, and so it proved to me what you were doing was something that was, well, look at it today. Look what you've done. So, what that one little match created in just people, whether it was hate mail or people just talking about girls wrestling, it started the ball rolling.
Were you ever concerned about anything that might happen to me while I was wrestling, boys in particular?
Not really on the mat. It was behind the scenes that bothered me. The bus rides with the boys, the showers, the locker rooms, where making sure boys acted right. I knew you were going to act right, but you can't control all the boys. So that was the part that kind of bothered me a little bit. But on the mat, no, you did what you did, and you were aggressive, and they were aggressive, and if a kid gets hurt, you get upset. And, I've had almost every single kid hurt in one way or another, so it's the same feeling, whether it's you or your brothers.
I remember I started in, I think it was high school that I started doing this, but every time I wrestled, everybody would come line up on the mat and watch my matches because I was the girl that wrestled. And, I started to develop girl areas of my life, and I had come off the mat after wrestling. I won the match, and I come up to you and you're like, I'm getting you Under Armour shirts and you're never not wearing them ever again. You got me a white one and a black one, and I had to wear an Under Armour shirt up to my neck every time.
Well, yeah.
So I'm thankful for girl singlets nowadays, but you were not happy about the boy singlet choices.
No, the apparel for girls wrestling has come a long way. Let's just put it that way.
Was it a different feeling for you to watch me wrestle girls than it was to wrestle boys?
Yeah, no. I mean, the excitement was there for it. The end results, when you got older, you were so successful wrestling girls. I kind of was, hoping you would wrestle more girls. Mm-hmm. And it was unfortunate they didn't have girls wrestling, and I'm so happy they have it now. But it was a struggle to watch you wrestle boys at times, especially when they were real aggressive to you and mean to you. I mean, you held your own, so I wasn't worried about it. But those first couple times I had to go through it, it was tough to watch. And then as you got, a little bit better and started dominating the boys, the entire gym would line up to watch you wrestle. So it was, you had a little grin on your face that's my daughter, and she's out there doing it. So would I have preferred it all girls? Yeah, but it didn't bother me that you wrestled boys. It bothered the boys probably and their parents more. I always felt a little bit to watch a kid get beat by you, because it was pretty disappointing. I mean, they had to have a little bit of swallow their pride a lot, and I don't know if other boys made fun of them, but that's kind of the part I was kind of worried about.
I always was told, talking to a boy about it, it's a lose-lose situation to wrestle a girl, because, if you beat her, well, good job, she's just a girl. But if you lose, it's like, dude, you lost to a girl. So it's like, that was their explanation of things to me. But so I'm glad we have the separate divisions for the girls and the boys now.
Yeah, I always hear the saying, you throw like a girl, and I'm like, have you seen my girl?
Yeah.
So, people don't really use those sayings anymore about a girl, because girls are so competitive in boy sports and vice versa.
So this was the last year that girls were able to be sanctioned, and we had our own state championship in Wyoming this year. When you heard the news that we were getting sanctioned, how did you feel about it?
Oh, I was excited. It's long due.
Yeah.
Very long due. So there was some people that fought it, which made sense, and then there were some people that finally agreed to it, and I think it's a huge success. I actually enjoy watching women's wrestling. I enjoy watching women's MMA.
Yeah.
It seems like they go harder, and they fight harder, and they're tougher. I'm not saying all of them, but even the high school ones we watched up in Moorcroft a couple years ago, when my youngest two seniors were still wrestling. They had a girls division, and they were competitive, and it was fun to watch. And not just me, the whole crowd was into it. So just this last year just kind of proved it that it was due for a long time ago.
I'm really anticipating on seeing the numbers and how much it grows. Is there anything you'd like to see happen in the future with girls wrestling for the state of Wyoming?
I'd like to see it at the University of Wyoming.
Yeah.
I think that's long due also.
I do too.
I don't know what they're waiting on. Coach Branch does such a great job with the men's program. I'm sure they would, be excited to have women's wrestling there, especially since it's growing across the United States, and give kind of our local girls an opportunity to stay close where mom and dads can watch them.
Right.
Our family right now, they have to travel so far away, and I had to go to Winnipeg to watch you.
Yeah.
Winterpeg is what we called it.
Yeah.
So it was difficult to get up there to watch you, 4 or 5 times a year, but it'd be nice if Wyoming would accept it at the university level.
Yeah, I know that they've been having a bunch of girls sections in their wrestling camps over the summertime, so I love to see that. I hope it continues to grow in that aspect for sure. Yeah, Coach Branch, if you're listening, we want a division in the college up there, so think about it. There's a lot of dads out there with little girls that want to wrestle. Is there any advice that you would give a dad when their daughter comes up to them and asks them to wrestle?
Yeah, buy them all the shoes you can because they get into these Rulon Gardner shoes and that costs you a fortune later on in life. So yeah, if you're a wrestler, you know what that means. Yeah, it's a great sport. I think it's probably, out of all the sports my kids do, it's probably the most life-learning sport there is. You go through tough times, cutting weight, trying to get better. If you don't get better every single summer, it shows on the mat, and that's just life. I mean, if you don't get better at your job, it's going to show. If you don't get better being a parent or a father or a mother or working on your marriage, it's going to show. And so wrestling has no excuses. So that's why I encourage everybody to at least try the sport.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're putting the word out there for the dads because these little girls are coming for them and they're going to want to wrestle for sure. So we have a wrestling camp every summer that I host here in Casper. And Frank's Butcher Shop has always been a huge supporter and given a bunch of donations to that camp. So we're able to have those wrestling camps and have the numbers that we get to attend those camps so they can afford it. So I just want to say thank you so much for all of the donations that you've given to give these girls opportunities. We're just very appreciative of all of the things that you've supported us doing and given us for that opportunity for those girls. So thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome. And if any of those girls are out there listening, every time there's a fundraiser, if you find me, I buy them. So just make sure you get those tickets to me so I can support you.
Head into Frank's Butcher Shop and sell those raffle tickets, girls. You know where to find them. Where can people find you if they are looking to go to Frank's Butcher Shop?
Oh, our online store is the best. It's just franksbutchershop.com. You can look at everything we do right there online.
Okay, yeah, and if you're in Casper, it's the Big Red Barn on CY, so give them a check out. All their meat's local from Wyoming, and it's pretty good stuff, so check it out. Is there anything else you would like to add or say to any girls watching right now?
Oh, just, get after it. Push yourself as hard as you can, and parents, push your kids. We need more of that in the society today, is support your kids.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm sure I'll see you very soon. And thank you all for joining me so much. I hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you next time.
I can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense to me, I can make nice or make history.